Welcome back to the Inspired Show with Joe Cohen. I'm super excited to have another co-host here. Very excited for this one. Christian Hernandez from the Subject to community with Pace Morby, and he's an amazing mentor for the community, and I'm super excited to have him on. So Christian Hernandez, thank you for joining the Inspired Show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, super excited to have you on. So Christian, you've been in the real estate investing world for quite some time now. You kind of navigated your way through this real estate journey that you've been on. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Tell us a little bit about your background and what got you into real estate.
Yeah. Before I was in real estate, I was an IT technician. So backtrack a little bit before that. I was in the military. I got my GI Bill, and I went to school to become an IT technician. I was an IT technician for maybe 2 years, but, just driving around LA, stuck in traffic, and when you're an IT technician, you're doing a lot of driving, mainly, right? You drive to a business, and then you help them out, and then you got maybe you help them for an hour, and then you got another hour to drive. But that's kind of that was my background before. I was an IT technician. And I really, in the drives, I was always listening to podcasts about real estate, and I was always listening to stuff like that because I really felt like that job, even if I got to the top of the food chain, I was not going to accomplish my goals. I was not going to get to what I wanted to get to. I was not going to make what I needed to make. None of it, right? Yeah. I was not going to accomplish my goals. So I kind of felt like, I was trying so hard, but I was just going down the wrong road, wrong way. Mm-hmm. So that's when I decided, I'm going to put all my eggs in this one basket and just go full on into real estate.
So are you saying that you went from a career in IT to just full-time real estate, or did you work your way into it?
So the way I started, I was part-time. I started wholesaling part-time. Mm-hmm. So right when I got out of work, right, I'd start calling, I'd start door knocking, I'd do whatever I could to generate leads. And then, when I found what happened is I found one deal. And that one deal made me around $20,000, right? But that's the one deal that made me decide, like, no, I need to quit. I need to do this full time. But because even when I was in my job, like, I wasn't focused. Yeah. I was just thinking about real estate and, I should be doing this, I should be doing that, instead of doing my 9 to 5, I was definitely like the worst employee probably.
Yeah. At that particular moment,
right?
Oh
yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So, you were kind of like sitting in each job, just kind of daydreaming about real estate, right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Which kind of gave you that motivation. You're like, I got no fire for this IT world anymore. Mm-hmm. I assume it's like low voltage electricity, Cat 6, Ethernet cables and stuff like that. Yeah. I used to do that as well when I was young and up and coming. Yeah. So I know exactly the job it was. It's very labor intensive. Mm-hmm. You're basically lifting these big cable trunks up into the ceilings of these office buildings, and then you got to terminate the lines into a big panel, and mm-hmm. super labor intensive. Yeah. Low wage employment too. Yeah. So it's like you're sitting there saying, I went to school. Mm-hmm. I got a degree in this, or a certification in this, mm-hmm. a diploma, whatever it may be, and then I'm out here in this environment where I'm working for somebody else. Mm-hmm. They're making all the money. They're making all the profits. They're not working as hard as I am. Mm-hmm. So then I just got to go out and do something for myself. That's so inspiring.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Because I personally feel that we all are kind of tuned to go down that path. Mm-hmm. Thank you for your service, by the way, for the military service. That's amazing. I'm hoping you didn't have any crazy experience in that.
No.
But you come out of this and you're like, everybody's like, tell you to go to school. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm going to go to school. Now I'm going to go get a job. That job was not satisfactory once you put all that work into going to school. Mm-hmm. And so what now, right? And you ask yourself those questions, and I think that is crucial to anybody that's listening to the show is that whatever society is telling us that we should be doing, if we have to listen to our gut, we have to listen to what's being told to ourselves internally to say, hey, if this is not the way I see myself, I need to go out and go do something else, right? And that's what you did.
Yep.
And you worked at it, right? And so you got that one deal, and how did you get that one deal?
Direct mail.
Okay.
What I ended up doing is I ended up looking at all the Hispanic last names.
Okay.
Really, and because I had limited, direct mail is expensive.
Yeah.
So I didn't have that much money, so I was like, okay, this is a big list. I need to cut it in like half, and I need to set myself apart a little bit. So what I ended up doing, I ended up getting all the Hispanic last names, and I took them out, put them on a separate list, and then I sent all those people, letters in Spanish.
Oh, okay.
And then one of those people ended up replying saying, oh, yeah, everybody's calling me in English, but this is the first one I get in Spanish. How can you help me? And that's really how I set myself apart on that one deal and how I was able to get it.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's great. Great plan. So basically, you didn't want to put yourself in the big pond with a bunch of fish in it. You wanted to square it down to a small pond where you knew you could be a specialist. And that's the key to your success in finding that one deal. And so how did that allow you to scale from there?
Well, that's those $20,000 that gave me money to buy more lists and to hire a virtual assistant and that sort of thing to really start throwing money at the marketing, because at first it's really scary to put money into marketing when you don't even know if it's going to come back. You don't even know if it's real, that sort of thing, right? But at that point, I was like all in. I was like, oh, it worked.
Yeah.
Bet. And yeah, then I started. That's what I did. I hired a virtual assistants. I ended up hiring 2, and then I just had them started having them call all day.
Were they Spanish-speaking assistants?
No, at the time they weren't. No.
Okay. So how did that impact the niche that you created?
So funny enough, after that, I didn't get Spanish sellers anymore.
Oh, okay.
I just kind of.
You just expanded you went through a broader list then.
Yeah.
At that point.
Yeah.
Got it. So it was basically the niche that catapulted you into an expansion of a larger scale. That's awesome. So you got the virtual assistants. They're pounding the phones for you. They're live transferring leads into you, and then you start locking down more deals, right? Were they cash deals, or did you already know a little bit about the creative financing?
No, it was all cash deals, and it was all cash deals, 100% cash deals. That's what I was going for. The way I actually ended up finding about creative finance was through a local meetup.
Okay.
Yeah, I had read this book that if you wanted to get into a field, what you wanted to do is you wanted to meet people that were already doing it, and you wanted to make them part of your network, right? Before you get, and if you did so that was my train of thought. I was like, okay, if there's no point of me reading this book if I'm not gonna take action. Yeah. If I'm not gonna apply the skills, I'm just wasting my time. It's just entertainment. So then I started looking up all the local meetups, and there was this one guy, he owned a Home Investors franchise that had this meetup, and all he did was talk about his creative financing deals. And that's when I found out, oh, you could do this, you could take over the mortgage, you could, do this, do that. But then the guy, and I understand it, the guy was just, I asked him to teach me, I asked him to show me, and he was like, man, I'm not a teacher. I'm just trying to do some deals. But if you want to learn this, if this is what you're going to do, you're going to have to pay for some mentorship, join some mentorship that's willing to teach you. And that's kind of how I started seeking for Pace Morby and that mentorship to join it because of that, because I had seen it out here.
Got it. Yeah. So you actually took a pretty big risk at that point.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're probably not locking down deals consistently with the environment that we're in, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's a very competitive environment. Still, everybody's kind of and would you agree with me? A lot of the real estate investor coaches kind of teach us all to do the same thing, right? Pool list, hire a virtual assistant, pound phones, do that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then they're all teaching us the back of the napkin analysis, right? Which is ARV less rehab costs times 70% or whatever the margin that you want to add the assignment fee into and things of that nature, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if there's a lot of people doing it, it brings us now back into that larger pool concept, right?
Exactly.
We're swimming in the pool with a bunch of sharks, right?
Yeah.
So we want to get ourselves out of that pool, and that's where the creative financing comes in, right? And so you had to have trust in the program because Pace Morby's program is not inexpensive, right?
Yeah, and I think about it when I joined, it was fairly new. Like right now, if you join, it's kind of a proven thing. Like you could find several students that, I bought a house like this, I did this, I made this much money. Now you can see those stories, but back then it was the program had been out for 3 months maybe.
Right, so you really had no success stories.
Yeah, no.
So you were really taking a big leap of faith.
Yeah, but I had decided, just because I had already known like that IT was in the way. I decided like, no, I'm gonna do real estate, and I'm gonna do this until it works.
See how impactful that was? You actually made a decision, right?
Yeah.
You actually said, no, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm meant to do. And then you went out there and you did it. And there was nothing that stopped you from doing it, right? Even the decisions that you made to go out and spend thousands of dollars on a coaching program, you made that decision consciously and you executed it, right? That's amazing. That works out fantastically for some, but not for every.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Did you have to like go into it with a plan? Did you figure out like, okay, if I spend this amount of money, I have to do this amount of deals to recoup my cost kind of thing?
I should have. I should have. Ideally, but I didn't do that.
Yeah, you just had the faith.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, it probably took me 8 months to get a deal after that first deal.
Okay.
Right, it was a long period of time where,
So from deal one at $20,000 to the next deal, it took another eight months, which we all know if you quit your job,
yeah,
you're siphoning off of that $20,000. You're spending money on marketing, and then you join a program that costs probably a few $1,000s.
The program came a little bit after.
Okay,
the program came a little bit after.
So after the second deal, basically.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
But yeah, it was a little scary. Your friends, everybody's going out. I'm like, no, I can't go out because, I'm going to spend this money on marketing, so I can't hang out with you guys. And that's
you were committed.
Yeah, yeah.
You were committed to the process.
Yeah.
I had a same encounter when I decided to step full time into real estate. Well, not full time in real estate. It was part time. It was like a side hustle for me. The viewers know the story, but for your purposes, during COVID, I was kind of going through this, moment in my life where I was like, something's missing in my life, and it happened to be real estate. And so I just went ahead and signed up for a program through Tariq El Moussa. And so that really kind of catapulted me to where I am at today. But ultimately, it was I had a high six figure job. And people were like going, hey, man, you're freaking crazy, dude.
Yeah. What are you doing?
What are you doing? Right? And I was, had regular golfing buddies and all that stuff like that. And I stopped all that. As soon as I made the decision that I was going to go into this and try to make it to where it's a full-time gig, I just locked down and just committed. And I spent hours and hours and, did different things, working with, pay-per-click ads, list pooling, virtual assistants, all of those things. And then, I'm a licensed real estate professional. So I just started looking at the MLS. And I'm like, hey, there's deals on the MLS. There's probate deals. There's trust sales. There's all these different things. It's just on me to get into the listing agent's brain and see, make us see eye to eye, right? Yep. And so that's when I started locking up deals consistently. And then I developed a team and then taught them that process. And that's where we expanded to today. So after that long story, to wrap it into a nice bow, my friends were like, hey man, let's go golfing. Let's go have fun. You're in your 40s. This is the time to enjoy the fruits of your labor. And I just went out and I just gave myself a career change and I'm buckled down, right? I made a commitment. I stuck with it. And here I am today, hosting a podcast, talking to fellow real estate professionals. But that's the key, I think, is once you make that decision, nothing should stop you. There's time and a place for work-life balance, right? There's a time and a place for all of that. But your first 2 years are really crucial in this business, right?
Absolutely.
So talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, it was tough, tough because, this was like I didn't have it wasn't a side gig for me. It was like full time. So this has to work. Now I'm a veteran, so I do get, some money from the government because of some injuries and stuff like that. But it's not much. It's not enough to survive, definitely. Right.
And you got healthcare covered, right? So that's cool.
So I got healthcare covered. That's okay.
Yeah.
But, it's a lot of doubt that you're going to have, that people are going to put on you, just because they don't believe that they can do it themselves.
Yes.
So they're going to kind of push that upon you like, hey, I can't do it. You probably can't do it either.
Yeah.
But, that was it. The 8 months were tough, but after that, one deal, like once they started coming in, like one deal a month, it was like, oh, there you go.
Yes.
Now, even if it were small deals for me, it was like, oh, I could do this one more month. I can survive for one more month and do it again. Maybe next month will be better.
Yeah.
And like that, little by little,
And then how did the creative financing just basically blow everything up for you?
Okay, so, the way that it works, because nowadays I'm not kind of tied to one strategy, right? So before, if I heard a seller tell me certain things, then I'm out of the picture. If they want market value, I'm out of the picture. If they owe more than my cash offer, I'm out of the picture. So there was a lot of leads like that I just had to pass on. And after I met that one guy that I told you about in that meetup, I knew that, oh man, I'm missing out. I'm missing out on these opportunities. So that's when I decided to join and kind of learn kind of like the symptoms that these people have when it makes sense for them to hand over the mortgage, or when it makes sense to do a creative strategy, right? And, from then on, I'm just kind of listening to the story, and I'm kind of listening to the symptoms that they have. And that way I know, like, oh, no, yeah, you absolutely have to sell it cash. No, you absolutely have to do creative finance, because if you list it, you're gonna lose money. You're gonna come out of pocket. Yeah. And a lot of times that's kind of what helps me close the deals. Just me explaining it to them, like, look, this is what your agent told you could list it for. This is how much you owe. This is how much you're gonna come out of pocket. Yeah. This is how things are gonna work out. If you do it this way, you can get $5,000, $10,000, not pay out of pocket. Right. Right. If you do it cash, it's not gonna work. Don't even talk to any more cash investors, but kind of giving them advice of the possible scenarios that they have. And eventually, I'm just showing them the doors, and they just choose which door they want to go down. So they, if it makes sense for creative finance, they go down that road. Yeah. So basically you're giving them a menu of options, and you're not saying, hey, this is the definite path that you have to take in each option. Option A is this scenario, and here's what that looks like. Option B is this scenario, and here's what that looks like. Yeah. And option C is this scenario. Which one do you see fit best for you? Exactly. And then at that point, it's for them to make that decision. Yeah. That's great. That's really enlightening, because I do believe that we try to overcomplicate things. I know I do that. I'm like, how is Pace just absorbing all of these properties? How are you locking all of these deals down when I'm just over here trying to get deals on the MLS and make cash offers? And even Pace now, he's like, I don't even deal with cash offers anymore. Like, it has to be creative, otherwise I won't even look at it, right? Yeah. And so that encouraged me to go out there, and I do a lot of outbound calling on expired listings. I did the virtual assistant thing. I just thought it was just way too much training, too much hand holding for myself. So it's like, I'd rather just do the work myself. Yeah. And cut the expense, right? Yeah. But there's some good virtual assistant companies, like REI Call Center is a good one. Riva Global is also a good one. So I just
me personally, for where I'm at in my business, I'd just rather make the calls myself, you know?
Yeah.
But, you know, I got this deal. It's a multifamily deal, and I used kind of that same, you know, scripting of, hey, are you open-minded to, you know, giving us terms where, you know, we give you enough down payment, you carry a mortgage? And he was like, yeah, I'm willing to do that. And so now it's like, it's a hot potato, right? Like, I got this thing, and I got to go, you know, find somebody to help me negotiate this deal, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm looking at things from a different spectrum now that I know that these opportunities are out there. And I feel like that's where you were at when you were in that position.
And I'll tell you, the thing with those opportunities also was the fact that I don't feel like I have to know it all.
Yeah.
I don't have to know everything. I don't have to know the full play. But that's if I know somebody that does.
Yes.
So, you know, that's the next thing that helped me with my business, is that when I was getting into something and I was like, well, I don't know what to do. I don't know what the next step is. I don't know if this will clear from title, anything else. I just started partnering with people.
Yeah.
You know, I started partnering with people that knew. I didn't know nothing about foreclosures. I didn't know how to deal with them, how to stop it, anything. But I knew people that did. So I was like, hey, let's partner.
I got this deal.
I got this lead. Yeah, go ahead and stop it. And then I'll handle everything afterwards. Until I learned how to do it myself after, you know, watching them do it so many times.
And that's classified as a joint venture, right? You're just going into joint venture agreements with people saying, hey, I got this opportunity. I, you know, need to rely on you to help me, secure the deal, and then I'll transaction manage basically at that point. I'll do all the sweat equity in that situation, right? That's amazing. That's actually a very smart concept, and it really comes down to just understanding that you don't have to be the smartest person in the room.
Yeah.
You can rely on other people that are smarter than you or have more experience than you. So then that way you can actually, you know, excel and learn, right? I had somebody reach out to me on that multifamily deal, and they're like, what's in it for you? And I was like, really? I mean, well, gosh, there's a commission out there. I'm definitely interested in the commission, but I'm also interested in learning how to underwrite this deal. I don't have any clue on how to underwrite the deal. All I know is the 1% rule, and you want to try and stay within a capex rate of, you know, between 6 and 10%. Great. Well, how do you get to that point?
Yeah. What does that mean?
What does that mean? It's like stereo instructions at this point, right? And I've been in the real estate industry for over 20 years. I mean, I started in 2001, but it was all loans. It was all, you know, at that time it was a refi boom and a purchase boom and all of that kind of stuff like that. So it's just narrow focused, right? I'm only going where the meat is good. And then I started doing traditional real estate transactions for myself and my friends and family members. And after the crash, I went into insurance and then doing real estate deals on the side. So again, tunnel vision, right? I only knew what I knew.
Yep.
And I only focused on what was getting me the deal. So now I want to be more expansive. I want to be open-minded and just get into it, right? Don't hesitate. If you don't know it, the only way to really truly know it is to go out and get into it, right?
Yep, exactly.
And that's exactly what you did. And now you're doing deals like crazy. What do you have any numbers that you could share with us on how many transactions you're doing a month? I mean, at one point you were just like, let me just get to the next month, one deal a month. How many deals are you doing per month now?
Probably 8 or 9.
8 or 9 deals.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's awesome. And it's because you now are not looking at deals like, oh, it's a dead deal. It doesn't fit. It doesn't fit, you know, my model. You're actually saying, how can I get this deal done?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Exactly. So, and I'll tell you, probably out of my deals, half of them are wholesale. Half of them are cash.
Yeah.
Cash, regular cash transactions. But if it doesn't work that way, it's okay.
Yeah.
You know, I'll figure it out. And if I can't, you know, then I might refer. Like, for example, there was one I had at the end of the last auction where the guy, it didn't make sense for me to take over that mortgage. He had like a 9%, and then he owed more than the cash offer would get him, but it still made sense for him to list it, right?
Okay.
So I'm not an agent, and I'm not in Texas. This lead was in Texas. So what I did, I called one of my friends in Texas as an agent. I said, hey, I have a lead for you. Just all you have to do, I literally closed this guy. You just have to show up and say hello, and he's gonna sign your contract, and that's what happened.
Nice.
But so there's basically I knew that was the only way for this guy to do it, and I helped him through the auction. That's why he built that trust in me.
Yeah. Excellent. That's amazing. So you're now not only blessing yourself, but you're also blessing others in the form of you're being reciprocal in business. You may or may not have been able to receive a referral fee for that because in California we can't do that unless you're licensed. But who knows? That guy might bring you an off-market deal that you can now buy because you gave him a deal.
Yeah.
Right. You delivered it to him on a silver platter, and you went with a mindset of abundance versus, oh well, this doesn't work for me, so I'm just going to let it go off to the wayside and let that person struggle through whatever they have to struggle through to get their house sold.
Exactly.
That's a fantastic way to look at things. I love that. So as you're growing your business and you're scaling your business and you're doing all of these things, we were talking a little bit before the show, and you're like, man, I don't even market anymore because I get people that just come to me to help them coach them through their deals, right? So what's the next phase for Christian Hernandez? What does that look like for you?
I started. It's kind of I got a transaction coordinator at the moment, to help me manage the paperwork and deal with escrow and stuff like that. And I think for me at the moment, I just need to keep on basically firing myself from certain roles.
Yeah.
And putting people, in those positions. Now with creative finance, it's really tough because
you got to know how to speak the language.
Yeah, and then I could come teach you something, and then tomorrow I'm going to bring you a deal completely different. Maybe this one has a mortgage, maybe the other one doesn't.
Right.
Maybe this one, I'm keeping it for 3 months, maybe the other one I'm keeping it, so it's like, it's different every time. But that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to basically fire myself out of different roles. I don't do for the dispo, for example, I don't put any of the deals up there anymore, and I don't send them out, right? My virtual assistants just go ahead and do everything for me, and they send that out, and I just pick up the phone. And then, just different things like that. I'm just kind of slowly firing myself out there. So maybe, hopefully, I could get some more closers on the team, and so they can manage some of these leads. I think that'd be the next step.
Nice.
To really, really take myself out of the equation. But it's tough too when you're doing it the way I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Because everybody wants to deal with me.
Sure.
Everybody, they don't want to.
You're the face of the company.
Yeah, they don't want to deal with my TC. They don't want to deal with, my acquisitions guy, my dispo guys. They want to know what Christian wants to do. They want to know what Christian said directly. So that's the hard part when you're dealing with all these. So do you kind of
feel like the natural progression is that you're just going to kind of be coaching people on how to get these deals done, and maybe creating a system that's a little bit more easier for people to chew on?
I think that really realistically, I'd have to start marketing too. I'd have to do some more marketing, whether it's PPC, whether it's texting, whatever it is, to fill the gaps.
Got it.
Just so that at least
not so reliant on you giving all the deals. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then now at least the people that are helping you manage the business are just not getting discouraged because they only want to talk to you, or they're actually able to start navigating through the deals themselves versus having to be so reliant on you. So that's actually a good point on the natural progression of where you're at with your business. I mean, everybody starts out doing their own thing by doing every role.
Yeah.
And then as you start to expand, you start to get spread too thin, and you start to bring in more people. And I heard a statistic the other day that it's hard to give up control.
Oh yeah.
Right? Because you don't, and I just said it by the fact that I fired my virtual assistants and said, screw it, I'm going to make the calls myself. But it's also hard to scale when you want to have so much control.
Yeah, you can't have both.
Yeah.
You can't have both. And this is one thing. The last 2 IT jobs I had, I used to work for one guy, right? His name was Ryan. Ryan, he wanted to be in everything. He wanted to know all the accounting. He wanted to do every single thing. He wanted to be the highest level technician, and he wanted to see what we were going to do. He wanted to read through all of our notes, everything he wanted to be a part of. But also every single day he left work, he left home like at 1 or 2 a.m. And then he showed up. He was super tired, working himself to death.
Yeah.
And he was struggling to keep the lights on in the business. Like the business wasn't thriving.
Right.
But then I also worked for this other guy. His name was Tony. That guy was a really good boss. I'll tell you that. And he was really good at running a business. And I remember the first time I went up to him and I asked him a question. He's like, "Man, you're supposed to figure it out, because if I have to figure it out, there's no purpose of me hiring you. So if you can't figure it out, ask him. Then ask him.
And if you can't figure it out, still at that point, now come to me."
Yeah, but it's like there was a big line of people before getting to him. But the point is, that guy, Tony, he had a system. He had an accounting, and he trusted that person to do that job. And he had a person in each role, and he was fine. You know, his business was not struggling. He was coming in and showing up at 12 p.m., 1 p.m., and it was fine. Everything was running smoothly without him. And that's kind of what made me realize, like, oh, no, you need to have a system in place, and you need to have those people to do those roles if you want to really buy your time back.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I mean, I think that me personally, I actually tend to try to, be involved in everything, but I also want to not be like a micromanager, or I want to be a delegator. I want to try and find people that are on my team that I can, trust and rely that they're going to get the deals done. Mm-hmm. And then there's also a balance in leadership too, right? Is letting them sink or swim, mm-hmm. right? Because I then feel like if they're about to sink, I'll throw them a life raft, and then that's not doing anything for them. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you're right. It's good to be that type of a leader, because it allows you to scale, it allows you to grow as a individual, and it allows you to get to where you want to go and achieve.
And I'll tell you, this was the difference too. His time was actually, he was spending his time just getting new clients.
Yeah, doing what he does best.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, that's good stuff, man. Awesome. So you're here now. You have a thriving business. You're out there coaching everybody. So where can people find you on to know more about what you're doing and kind of follow along you?
Yeah, actually I have an office in Orange. Okay. The only reason I got I'm fine working from home, but the only reason I got the office, it was because a lot of people were like, "Hey, I want to meet with you. I want to come work with you for a few hours. I want to see how you do it." And that's that way they could come in, they could check it out, and if they could make some calls in front of me, if they have a hot lead, I could call the lead right in front of them. And that's kind of why I did that office. That's great. But also, you could find me on social media. You could, I post my number all the time in social media, so people could find me pretty easily.
Yeah, so go ahead and share that. Is the office space like a business name? Do you have like a business name, storefront kind of thing, or what's that look like?
No, it's at the Regas. I got an office at the Regas.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah.
And then what's your social media?
It's Christian.h.1.
Perfect.
Yep, that's my Instagram.
Christian.h.1. Mm-hmm. And then that has your link tree and all that kind of stuff like that. Yep. to find you on any of your sites and things like that, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Awesome, man. So I really appreciate you coming on. I didn't know how close you actually lived, which was great.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to doing some deals with you, man. I'm ready to, ramp up and get involved with whatever you guys are doing. I mean, I'm personally here trying to learn a whole new, language with the subject to stuff. And I'm eager. So I'm super excited to have you in my network. Like I said, I always say, put yourself in the right room with the right people, and you'll be able to grow. So awesome. Thanks for coming on today.
Thanks for having me, man.
Awesome. And if you like what you saw here, go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel at The Inspired Show. And we're also on all of the social media platforms, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, we got it all, man. So Joe Cohen Inspires or the Inspired Show is where you can follow me. So thanks for viewing today. And man, it was awesome to have you on.
Thank
Super
you.
excited.